like being here for this event, Scott?
This is great. You know, I've been part of this in another conference. This is the big time. This is one of the top shows in college football in this league, and it's an unbelievable league, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it.
How important was it for you to get Dave Ellis back here, that nutrition part you're speaking about up front?
It's key. Nebraska, when it was great, did more to help football players become the best they could be than anybody else in the country. We had the best strength and conditioning and the best nutrition in the country. We were pioneers as far as that went. We were probably 10 or 15 years ahead of people in those two regards. We've fallen behind. Dave's the best in the business, and we're thrilled to have him back.
You look within your division, Iowa's a program that's outscored Nebraska 96-24 the last 2 years. What do you have to do to close that gap? Is that something you're circling?
I'm not worried about one game. I'm worried about being better every day. We're not going to treat any one game any different than any other. Certainly Iowa is going to be the end of the last game of the year going forward. I've got a lot of respect for Coach Ferentz. I think he does a good job and he does it the right way. But we're going to be getting better every day, and we're going to be ready for that challenge.
When you're out recruiting, what's the most common question you get asked?
I wouldn't say question. The thing that has really made an impression on me recruiting is how number one, how good a response we've gotten from everywhere, but two, kind of educating people about what Nebraska's all about. Almost every single kid that comes to Nebraska sits on my couch at the end of their trip and says, Coach, this is unbelievable. This is nothing like what I thought it was going to be. I think people's impression of Nebraska and Lincoln is a lot different than the reality, and we need to do a good job of educating people how special a place Nebraska is.
Scott, look at some of the JUCOs and grad transfers you've added this summer. What can they do for your roster short-term, intermediate?
Listen, we got to fix everything. We got to fix the talent. We got to fix the depth. Keep adding to what we have. There were some areas of immediate need that we went to looking for players. We found a few. We're not going to add people just to add them. We need guys that are going to contribute to the program and be good people. And I think we added some good pieces that are going to help us have depth and win games this year.
Do you have any roster injury updates, guys that you know are not going to be around?
No, feel pretty good. Our training staff's done a good job, and a lot of the guys that were question marks look like they're up and ready to go for fall camp.
So a kid like Trey Bryant, had a big start to last season. Are you excited to see what he can potentially do if he's all the way back? Yeah,
I went back and watched the games from last year, and he jumped off the screen immediately when you're watching the early games. I think he's progressing really well, and we're excited about the possibility. If he is back, we're going to have to be cautious with him and make sure we're not overloading him. But he's a special player if he's healthy.
What's your realistic hope for when you guys can compete for the Big Ten West, Big Ten championship?
I've said it 100 times. We're not going to put those kind of goals out in front of us. I know if we're getting better day by day, we're going to be really dangerous and hard to beat in the very near future. And we'll see how this first year goes, but people better get us now because we're going to keep getting better.
Scott, the quarterback situation, would you like to make a decision by a certain date, or do you feel comfortable letting that competition continue, maybe even up to the game?
Yeah, I would like to make a decision at least by a week before the game. I think when you're going into preparation for a game, you need to know who the guy is. But we'll make the decision when it's clear who the best guy is, and not before, and we won't wait after if it becomes clear. I'm excited to see those guys compete, and we got a long way to go. We're going to be playing a young guy no matter what, but we got good talent there.
Your answer about taking the formula and using it in a modern way was interesting. When you think about modernizing it, I don't know, how much do you think it needs to be modernized, and what do you want to try to do?
Well, science has changed. The right way to train and feed and get student athletes ready has changed. Obviously, X's and O's have changed on both sides of the ball. There's still pieces of what we used to run that we run on both sides of the ball, but we run an exciting offense, an attacking defense, schemes that kids are going to want to be a part of, maybe more so than the one I played in. But there's pieces of what we did that still make sense. Getting the pipeline back, winning fourth quarters, wearing people out through your strength and conditioning program, developing everybody on your roster by getting more kids involved in practice. Some of those pieces, that doesn't change. we've just been missing on it.
You think if Coach Osborne had stayed in it for another 20 years, he would have arrived at many of the things you already do on offense now?
Yeah, we've talked about that. First of all, I think if Coach Osborne would have stayed another 10 years, Nebraska would have 2 or 3 more national championships. But we've talked about spread offense and Oregon's offense in the times that I've talked to him, and there's so many similarities to the scheme we used to run. It's just a lot of it's some shotgun instead under center, and I really think Coach Osborne would have probably evolved a little bit.
Some of your coaches have talked about players needing to find that love again after last season. Have you seen that? And guys finding that love for the game?
We got a lot of guys that love the game. We don't have enough. We got a lot of guys that have found it again. We need more of them. This game's too hard. There's too much work that goes into it. If you don't love it and be passionate about it, it's not going to work. And sometimes go through a season like they went through it, it's easy to lose that passion because you're going through a lot of hard things. But we're gonna go to work in a way that the kids are going to enjoy it and going to care about each other. And the ones that do are going to have a great time, and the ones that don't, we're going to move on from.
Some more questions, guys.
Dominic Vaughn and Maurice Washington, when maybe they'll be in Lincoln for you guys.
We're working. There's 2 or 3 kids we're still waiting right up until the end with, but we're really optimistic about those 2. Hopefully they'll be in our program. We think they're both special players that can help us.
What coach would maybe get frustrated talking about the past? You're comfortable with that, talking about what Nebraska used to be, so say, I want to just talk about the future. As you've been asked this question many, many times in the last 6 months, when you think about what it used to be, there's something that what resonates most with you? Why do you think it's important to us as viewers here?
We're not going to run from the past, and I get the impression from afar. I got the impression that for quite a few years recently, Nebraska has abandoned the past and turned its back on the past. I've said this publicly: if you have an organization or a company that's the best in its sector for 25 years, and then it underperforms for the next 10 or 15 and doesn't perform to the same level, you're crazy if you don't look back at what made that company the best in its field for as long as Nebraska was the best in college football. We need to get a lot of those things back. We're going to embrace it. We're going to embrace ex-players. We're going to adopt some of the same ideas and try to get the program back to close to where it was when Coach Osborne was running.
Last one. Coach, what does a guy like Ron Brown bring to your program?
Ron was a receiver coach when I was there. I saw him do unbelievable things to help young men and young student athletes. We're trying to get the best people that we can back in the building. Certainly there's ideas that a lot of people that work for me have that not everyone agrees with, and I understand that. There will never exist in my program or our program any kind of discriminatory talk or anything like that. We're going to have a program that's open and comfortable for everybody that's involved in it. But we're going to build the program with the best people that we can possibly get involved in the building.
Does that mean you talked to him about some of the things he said?
I'm just excited to have him on board because of the person that I know he is and how much he's helped all the people that I played with.
Thanks, guys.